It works on my machine.
For about 30 years, that sentence was an admission of defeat. You said it quietly, while a server somewhere refused to run the code that ran perfectly on your laptop. It was the line that ruined deployments, ended friendships between developers and the operations team, and quietly killed a few careers. Then, a French founder, whose startup was already dying, shipped a tool that did almost nothing new. And that sentence stopped being an excuse. This is the story of Docker. And I want to argue something that sounds a little heretical. Docker did not win because it invented anything. It won because it took an old, miserable idea and finally made it pleasant to use. Let me show you how old the idea actually was. Go back to 1979. Unix version 7 introduces a tiny system call named chroot. It lets you change what a process thinks the root of the file system is, trap a program inside a folder, and to that program, that folder becomes the whole world. That is the first ancestor of the container, a way to give software its own little reality. For 2 decades, almost nothing happens. Then, in 2000, FreeBSD ships jails, which take chroot and add real walls. Separate processes, separate network identity, true isolation for hosting customers. A few years later, Solaris answers with zones, doing something similar on its own kernel. Meanwhile, over at Google, engineers have a different problem. They run an unimaginable number of processes on shared machines, and they need to fence off how much memory and how much CPU each one can take. Their work becomes cgroups, control groups, and it gets merged into the Linux kernel around 2008. Pair that with Linux namespaces, which hide processes from each other, and the kernel now has everything you need to build a container. Everything. In 2008, a project called LXC even bundles it together. The technology is finished. It is sitting right there, inside the operating system on millions of machines. And almost nobody uses it. Why? Because it was miserable. To build a container by hand, you had to understand namespaces, cgroups, networking bridges, and a stack of arcane commands that broke if you breathed on them. The power was real, the experience was punishing, the engine existed, and there was no car around it. Now meet Solomon Hykes. He is running a startup in France called dotCloud, a platform that hosts other people's applications. To run all that customer code safely, his team builds an internal tool. Something to package an app and its entire environment into one neat unit that runs the same way everywhere. It is plumbing, it is not the product. But dotCloud is struggling. The platform business is brutal, the money is running low, and the company is quietly running out of road. So in early 2013, the team makes a bet that sounds insane. They take their internal side tool and they open it to the world. In March 2013, at PyCon in Santa Clara, Hykes is given a 5-minute lightning talk. 5 minutes. He stands up and demonstrates Docker. The talk is titled The Future of Linux Containers. He does not unveil new kernel magic. Everything under the hood had already shipped years ago. What he shows is the experience. Build an image with one simple file. Share it. Run the whole thing with a single command. It just works. And the room understands instantly. The video spreads. Within weeks, the team makes the real decision. They stop betting on dotCloud, the actual company, and they bet everything on the free side tool. They rename around it. dotCloud, the platform, fades. Docker, the tool, becomes one of the fastest adopted technologies developers had ever seen. So here is my thesis, said plainly. Inventing the technology and winning are two completely different jobs. Every primitive Docker stood on had existed in Linux for years. Hykes did not invent isolation. What he invented was packaging. An image you could build once, ship anywhere, and run identically on any machine. He wrapped a brilliant, hostile engine inside something a human actually wanted to touch. We have seen this exact movie before. Version control existed long before GitHub, but the friendly wrapper is what conquered the world. The lesson keeps repeating. Often the winner is not the one who builds the engine. It is the one who builds the thing you can hold. So if this dig through the layers unpacked something for you, do the Docker thing. Package this channel into your subscriptions. Build the habit once and let it run on every machine you own. Like, subscribe, and ship it forward. I will see you in the next layer.